all, I'm here to show you how to glue in the American Revolution's pages. I have already glued mine in, but I'm going to go page by page to show you how to do it just so it goes a little faster. You'll need scissors, a glue stick, and since this video is on YouTube, you already have access to it. So, I always skip a page in my notebook, and I write Begin Unit 5. Okay, this page, you can just recycle it. Author's purpose, it's all on one page in your packet. You guys should know by now, you always cut thick lines. Always, always. These ones should be able to flap open. You will need to pause the video throughout so you know how to glue these in. Just pause as needed. Author's purpose summary gets cut out and glued in like normal. Second page. Primary and secondary sources. If you want to just trim around the edge and glue it straight in, totally fine. If you like the space in the middle from the title, totally fine as well. New France was printed with 2 pages on one sheet. You only need one. Recycle one of them, glue the other one in. It fits if you trim it just perfectly. Okay. Next you have the map. Anything that has an X on it, you don't need, you can recycle it. Cut and glue in your map. For tensions grow, notice on this page, it now says plus vocab in video to add. Anytime it says that, it means that I'm going to give you vocabulary words to include in your note taking. How I glued it in was I folded this tab so I can cut them out at the future. I'll glue them on when we do this video, and then I'll write the vocab underneath here. So you just fold it so this little tab can be cut off. Then you glue in like normal. Next page. The French and Indian War. Notice I have a note at the bottom. Read Sign of the Beaver if you want to learn more. What I did first was I cut out the arrow and glued it into the middle of my page. Then I went in order of the years. Notice that this year that has done is in the middle. So it starts with 1753 on the top left. Then it's the blank one on the middle left. Then it's 1760 on the bottom left. On the right side, we have 1755, 1759, and I have folded 1763. Notice I just made fold marks on the dotted lines. So I folded and folded so it fits. That's the French and Indian War. Next we have, why did the proclamation of 1763 anger colonists? You'll cut it out. This is what it looks like on your page. Cut out the title, glue it to the top. Then, you should know by now, we've done this many times, cut it out on the thick lines. Fold along the dotted line this way so you can glue the white part, and then your flaps are here. Okay, so you should have flaps. Okay, next page. Colonists protest new taxes. Here's what I wanted to show you in this case. This is how your page comes. We are going to have to organize these. Notice there are these on the side. So I just cut it off. I folded it in half. And I just paper clipped it so we can do that activity together. Again, these should be able to flap up. You guys have done that many times. The Stamp Act and the Townsend Act can go together on one page. Notice they also come together on one page. Everything on the left side is Stamp Act. Everything on the right side is the Townsend Act. It shows you in the order it should be glued. How did the British government respond? Should be glued down flat. I can't pick mine up. Then you should know it goes from longest to smallest, so it's a flap. Same for the Townsend Act. How did the British government respond? Is still the biggest one. That's solidly glued down all the way. Then the rest are just glued on the dotted lines. Okay? Shouldn't be too hard. You've done these several times. Next one, we have the Boston Massacre and the Boston Tea Party. Boston Massacre, again, should be able to flap. You cut the thick lines, you leave the dotted lines. Those are where you fold. For the Boston Tea Party, you can cut them out individually for the fill-in and the arrow, or just cut this whole part and then glue cause and effect on top of them. Notice underneath cause, it's the Parliament blank the Townsend Act, but added on a new blank. Underneath effect, Boston residents refused to allow blank. The Sons of Liberty dumped the blank. You should be able to figure that out. Okay, those two get flapped over. The coercive acts is probably the most challenging to glue in, but it opens up, which ends up being pretty cool. This is what your page looks like. Cut out your title first, glue it on the top. Cut out this flap part as one whole thing. Fold forward so you see it like this. You put all your glue on this white part. You could even write the word glue in this big white part if you want. So that way when it gets glued down, boom. I had it wrong. This is what you see. So that's how we get intolerable at the top and then coercive at the bottom. So when you glue those in, now you have these three parts to glue into the middle. What did the coercive acts do? That's the biggest, so it goes in your biggest middle chunk. Why do you think the British goes on the first part? Why do you think the colonists go on the bottom part? If you can't figure it out, just play the video again. Okay. Then when you fold it, one gets covered. You just pull out one of the tabs, and then they get closed together. I think this one's pretty cool looking. Okay. Next we have 3 on one page. Now, it looks like this, the start of the revolution, and it has fact or fiction. You do not need this. You don't need it. Cut it off, recycle it. You just cut out the circle, glue it on. Start of the revolution, go sideways. Fact and fiction, it tells you glue here. That part goes down. What I want you to know though, is when it says glue here, flip it and then glue. Just the same way I did. I'll show you one more time. Fact and fiction faces you. It says glue here. Take it to the spot you're going to glue it at. Flip it. Press it down. Because that's where you'll fold it up. And then you'll fold that over. So it ends up looking like, I glued mine in so this. There we go. Now, your next page is here. It's early battles. And it looks like this. But I want you to notice page 35 is written here. Page 43 is written here. Be careful of this. You are gluing in early battles right now. You are gluing this in a few pages later. So cut that off, put it to the side. Battle of Bunker Hill gets cut out and glued down all the way. Fort Ticonderoga, I'll figure out how to say that later. I'm in a rush. Gets glued on top of it on the dotted lines. The Olive Branch petition gets put to the side. This will come back. Next, you have how battles affected. This is how your page looks. Notice we'll have vocab words here too to pay attention to. Just cut it out on the solid lines. Cut the solid line. Line of glue underneath. Add your title. How battles affected a farmer in the colonies, a merchant in the colonies, a member of the militia, and a British soldier. We'll talk about that too. Almost done, guys. Turn to page. Weird, we have this olive branch petition back. The Second Continental Congress. I just trimmed the outside, folded it on the middle dotted line, and glued in just the top part. Okay? That way I could fit in the olive branch petition. I glued the title sideways so it would fit. You cut out all the solid lines, including the flaps. Put glue on the white part. Flip it so it looks like this. Now you're officially done with that. On the right side, you'll have who was John Locke. Cut out this first. Glue it solidly down. Cut out all the thick lines. Fold on the dotted line because it matches up with the writing. Who was John Locke? We have to fill it in. What did he believe about people's rights? Fill it in. What did he believe about the government? Fill it in. Okay. Declaring independence. This page looks like this. You don't need this part. We'll do it together in the video. Glue in the title. Cut this out all the way. Glue it in. Notice it does peek over a little bit, but that's not a big deal. It's glued in all the way solid. Same with comparing armies. Your page looks like this. You don't need the directions because we'll do that together. We'll do this page together, trim around it, glue in the box and the title. Then we have problems during the Revolutionary War. It looks like this. We'll have vocab words to pay attention to. When I say from video, I mean me, unless I tell you to look at a specific brain pop. Just cut out the title, glue it in at the top. Cut and glue down your circle all the way. That's it. Women of the Revolutionary War. You just need one. Tried my best to make it so we didn't waste any paper, but there's only so much I can do. Cut out one of them, glue it in. I bubble cut mine, do your choice. Okay. Next we have all the women. It comes in your packet looking like this. And notice there are 2 of them. You can keep the flaps, the A, B, C, D, E, and F. You can keep them. I found them to be a waste of space, so I just chopped mine off. Okay, you'll cut them all out, even if you keep the tabs. And I left one off so I could show you how to do it. I just cut them all off. You fold it in half on the dotted line. You want to be able to see the name, so that way when you glue it, the flap opens. So I'm going to have it folded with the name facing me. I'll flip it. I'll glue it. I'll flip it. I'll push it down. Notice these sides are coming off a little bit. It's not a big deal. It's just so they all fit on one page. Make it work, designers. I believe in you. Okay. That is for all 6 of the women in the famous women of the Revolution. For this page, we also need to write a title. Mine happens to be at the bottom. Yours can be at the top if that's how it worked for you. Okay. Next, we have the turning point of the battles of Saratoga. This is what your page looks like. Again, just cut out the title. Glue it at the top. Cut out the circle. Glue it in the middle. Literally just cut this out. Glue it in at the bottom. It is is not that hard, y'all. Almost done. Okay, now what I have to do is just make sure it's folded nicely. Now, when I'm done with this, I'm going to put something very heavy on top of my book so everything stays glued down. Help from other countries goes at the top. You are going to cut on the solid lines so that they flip. When you do it, glue in the middle. Flip it. Fold down the states or the countries first. Fold the title over it. Okay. Next we have Valley Forge. Cut the title. At this time, because now I was smart, I just kept the bottom underneath part together. Then I glued the problems at Valley Forge and results afterward. Since this is crossed out, you don't need it. These are more discussion questions that are too hard for me to ask you over this since we can't talk to each other. You guys just get to hear me make dad jokes. They're hilarious, by the way. Fighting in the South. Your page looks like this. Cut on the thick lines, glue at the title, cut the line in the middle, fold here, glue this side, slam down. You now have the flaps. Okie dokie. It's the Battle of Yorktown. I just bubble cut, as you can see. Trimmed around it. I even left the title next to this. Not a big deal. It does fold a little over as well. Make it work for your notebook. This fits on one page. Mapping the War also fits on one page. Notice that in your printout it says vocab words from video. You don't need to include that. You just need to know that you'll have vocab words on that part. Cut it out, glue it in. Treaty of Paris is our second to last one. Glue down what did they decide all the way, then go from longest to shortest, gluing only on these dotted lines so that these are flaps. Flap, 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 flap. Okay. Again, this is a discussion question we don't have the ability to do over distance learning / distance teaching. Our final page is how did the Revolutionary War affect each group? This is what yours looks like. Cut on the solid lines, including between the tabs. Glue on this white part in the middle. Flip it. Tuck in your tabs. Then put over your